As an automation engineer, I have came across many technologies and many rich user interface applications. As Avinash sir said, today the applications are being developed in very great user interfaces, and they are having some very good special effects. So testing, automation testing of these applications is a real big challenge for us. So like applications like WPF, like Silverlights are having very rich user interfaces. And object identification of these applications is a real challenge in test automation. There are some tools, some good tools like QTP, like Test Complete, that we have to automate these applications. But as we know that Test Complete has very complex object repository structure that is very that is not feasible to maintain on the fly, and QTP is not very reliable till now with these technologies. So what we can have as a solution to get a faster results. So in this presentation we will discuss about that solution. So let's outline the solutions. First we will discuss about the MVVM architecture. MVVM architecture, how we can use this MVVM architecture in test automation. Then we will see the challenges that we face during the object identification, the solution architecture, solution implementations, and in the last we will see the benefits of the solution, that how we can get benefited by that solution. So let's discuss about the MVVM architecture. So MVVM pattern is a 3-layered architecture. In this architecture, we know about the model view, view, and model. So let's discuss about the view. What is view? View is the area through which user interacts with the application. User can enter the password at username in the application or click on the button and interact with the drop-down boxes. So all these comes on view. Then the model. Model is the thing where we actually keep our data. It may contain the business logic or it may not contain the business logic. So, and view and model are not interconnected but not directly connected. So if we can say like that we need to store a date. So we can store it in the number of seconds since January 1st, 1970. But if we need to show it on the view, then we will show it in a DDMM YY format. So where is this changing is being done? It's being done in the business logic, or we can say the model view. We convert that particular number of seconds in the DDMM YY format and we display to the user understandable format. So how we can hit this portion to get better results in test automation, we will see in this presentation. Let me go forward. What are the general challenges that we face in our traditional approach, like object identification through application, in OR approach or in descriptive programming approach? In both the cases, we actually create the objects. But applications having very complex object repository structure leading to very high maintenance. Then object identification is also a challenge. I will talk about the tool that is QTP. QTP takes too much time to identify WPF objects and Silverlight objects as well because they are having very deep hierarchical structure. Now, what if our object ID is getting changed from release to release? I will take an example of WPF applications. So WPF applications having automation ID associated with it, that QTP identifies during the replay of our test suites. So if that automation ID is getting changed on release to release, then it leads to a high maintenance in script and as well as in object repository. Now, the object type is getting changed. Here, let me take an example. Suppose in a version 1, there was a radio group having 3 radios, high, low, and medium. And in the later releases, it has been changed to a drop-down box having the same values. So it will also lead us to a object repository maintenance and then script maintenance and all kinds of things. So all these things are ultimately increasing our execution time. Let me talk about a business case. We were automating a WPF application, and client says that, Naman, it is taking too much time. Even a manual tester can execute a test case in a shorter time than automation. So what is the use of this automation that we are investing in it? Where is the ROI? I said, okay, sir, let me think about it. So we said, and then we thought some ideas came. Finally, we came across the solution. So the idea is that if we can hit directly the business model, the business logic of the application, we can get the better solution. So how business logic can be hit? So let's take an example of login screen, that if we need to automate it, so during the automation of the login screen, what steps do we need to perform generally? The steps are as follows, like we need to get the login window open, then we need to check that the login window has been opened or not, then we need to populate the username and password fields. After that, we need to validate that password and username fields has been populated with the user given values. And after that, we need to click on the login button. We can check for any exceptions and we can go into the application. Let's go back to the login screen. So first, I would like to tell that if we get the login window, what these view, where is the changes coming in the view and the business logic of the application? View, business logic, and the model. These three layers are interconnected through data bindings, method calls, procedure calls, and all kinds of things. So if a user interacts with the view, like if user enters the username and the password, it generates a behavior in the application that ultimately updates the business logic. Some of the properties gets updated. And if user clicks on the button, then it generates an event and ultimately it calls some function to get it login. So these particular behaviors and these particular events, if we catch, so we can get some good results. We can make some functions like populate fields. In that populate field method, we will give user ID and the password as an argument. It will go to that particular method in the business logic that is responsible to take those inputs. And ultimately, it will update the view itself, because view and business logic is interconnected through the data bindings. And then we need to click on the login button. So if we suppose on the click event of the login button, a submit credential function is in the business logic that gets called. So if we call this function directly, so it can do the rest of the task of login. So we can make a function like start login, and then we will call that submit credential function in that particular function. And we can combine those populate fields, start login, is error message displayed, all these functions in a form of DLL. And this we can get to those DLL object, and then we can use those method in our QTP or VB script. So what we do in traditional approach, like if we need to populate a field, then we write the object repository structure and dot set and then give the values. But here, what we are doing, we are just creating the object of that DLL, and then we are using the populate fields method, and we are giving the username and password to this, and it will populate. So let's see what are the benefits that we can get by this solution. So first, object repository. In traditional approach, we are having a high maintenance of object repository, but in this particular approach, there is no ORs created, so no object repository maintenance. After that, I'm sorry. Object identification. Due to very complex object repository structure, in the traditional approach, the tool takes time to identify the objects, but in the new approach, there is no OR, so object identification can be possible if we can generate the XML of the screen by reading the screen to it. And those objects can be converted into the form of XML nodes. And we can read those XML nodes and we can identify the objects, we can validate the properties and all. Now, the high maintenance due to object property change. If the object property gets changed, so we do not need to modify our QTP or our VB script, our automation script, but we do need to modify only that DLL particular. So a very less maintenance. And what if the object type is getting changed? Like if the radio button is getting changed in the drop down boxes. So this also there is no chance of modification in the automation script. Only that DLL will get updated with this change, and that's all. Again, a less maintenance. Now, if all those times are getting lower, then we can get some better results in the execution. Thank you. Thank you, all of you.